Hello, I'm Dr. Talia Swartz, President of the Mount Sinai Alumni Association, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the virtual 2022 Alumni Reunion and Awards Ceremony. This year, we had the largest number of nominees for the Alumni Awards, representing the expanding health system and an extraordinary group of individuals who have committed decades of service to this institution.
I'm Dr. Alexis Colvin, Mount Sinai's Dean for Alumni Affairs. I'm thrilled to be here too. I'm so proud of all our honorees tonight, each of whom exemplify what makes Mount Sinai great, whether they continued their careers here or are spreading the values and excellence of our institution far and wide. We would also be remiss if we didn't extend a special welcome to all the new members of the Mount Sinai Alumni Association and all the members of the St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Association.
All true, Alexis. We are also celebrating a unique milestone in the history of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. 2022 marks the 50th anniversary of the class of 1972, the first class to have completed all 4 years of their education here. That class, like all that have followed, truly have left their mark on our institution and the world of science and medicine.
Yes, we have an incredible campaign planned to recognize this milestone, which will culminate in a series of in-person activities and events in spring 2023. Prepare to be busy.
I can't wait. I will also say that if this event reminds you of a fellow alum with whom you haven't spoken recently, then get in touch. Pick up the phone, send an email, or write a text.
That's a great idea. At this time, as we pass the 2-year mark since COVID-19 first arrived at Mount Sinai, I think it's more important than ever that we catch up and check in with friends and colleagues. While it's easy to congratulate ourselves on the resilience of our faculty, students, and frontline healthcare workers, we can never forget what that strength is based upon. Feeling connected to others, knowing you have their support, and being able to offer your own helping hand are critical factors in getting through a crisis of this magnitude. We are fortunate as Mount Sinai alums to have this community to draw upon. Looking forward, there are so many opportunities to renew your involvement with Mount Sinai, for instance, as a mentor or a speaker. Our Alumni Connect mentoring initiative has grown even larger, with over 400 alumni participating and offering mentorship to our students. In addition, since March 2020, we have hosted 44 Alumni Connect Zoom sessions, which have brought together alums from all over the US with current students and residents for fantastic small group discussions. Your alumni community is available to you all year long, and we are always happy to hear from you.
It's an honor to be part of that community, Alexis. And before we move on to this ceremony, there is one very special alum that we would like to acknowledge, Dr. Claude Bloch. Dr. Bloch received his medical degree from Yale in 1953. He completed his radiology residency at Mount Sinai in 1960 and has been affiliated with Mount Sinai his entire career. After retiring from practice, he's remained committed to teaching, including in 2005 when he founded the ongoing annual Radiologic Grand Rounds Conference, alternating with topics in breast imaging and gastroenterology. Dr. Bloch and his colleague, Dr. Alvin Tierstein, were the co-founders of the Pulmonary Radiology Weekly Clinical Conference, which was established over 60 years ago at Mount Sinai and still exists to this day. Its longevity is a testament to its excellence and relevance. Additionally, he is a member of the Weekly Pulmonary Tumor Board since 2015 and is a participating member of the International Early Lung Cancer Action Program and the Initiative for Early Lung Cancer Research on Treatment. We should all be so academically engaged in our 90s. We are proud to honor him and thank him for his many years of service to the Mount Sinai community. Thank you, Dr. Bloch.
Yes, congratulations, Dr. Bloch. Now I would like to introduce you to Dr. Leo Keegan, a Mount Sinai alum, the Vice President of the Mount Sinai Alumni Association, and the Alumni Awards Chair.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Leo Keegan, and I'm pleased to be presenting tonight's Mount Sinai Alumni Awards to so many outstanding alumni and members of our Mount Sinai community. As ever, there were more deserving nominees from across the Mount Sinai health system as we had awards for. Congratulations to all. Our first award this evening is the Mount Sinai Alumni Student Leadership Award. This award is presented each year to students who exhibit exemplary leadership. This year, we are pleased to recognize PhD candidate Katherine Meckel and Dr. Charles Sanky. Katherine, who will earn her PhD in neuroscience from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai later this year, has already distinguished herself in several ways, including receiving many awards and an NIH-supported fellowship. Among other examples of her deep engagement in our community, Katherine is the co-founder and president of Disability Rights, Education, and Awareness at Mount Sinai. We wish her every success in her plans to establish her own research lab to investigate the gut-brain interaction underlying substance use disorders. Where to start with Charles? Before coming to the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, he already had a career in public health at the state and federal levels, experience that he brought to bear in various leadership, education, research, and community service roles while earning his MD and MPH here. Somehow, he even found time to direct and star in a parody of the musical Hamilton. The NIH funded his research year with the Department of Emergency Medicine, giving him an opportunity to look deeply into the social determinants of health affecting our patients. Upon graduation, he received many honors, including the Excellence in Public Health Award. He is now distinguishing himself further as a resident in emergency medicine. Congratulations, Katherine and Charles, on receiving the Mount Sinai Alumni Student Leadership Award.
As president of St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Society, I want to welcome all present and former residents and fellows and current and past physician and staff of St. Luke's Roosevelt to the Alumni Reunion Ceremony. Whether you have walked our halls as trainees or came to our hospital following training, you and your colleagues are all members in good standing of the St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Society, now in its 131st year of existence. Our society also welcomes the alumni of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and the Mount Sinai Hospital. This year, as in the past, we are forced to hold this ceremony remotely. I want to thank Jason Soto with the Development Office and Melanie Lynch of the Office of Special Events for making this remote ceremony possible. Our society reflects a deep sense of family that has marked St. Luke's and Roosevelt since their separate foundings in the 19th and subsequent merger in the 20th century. Like most family get-togethers, our annual dinner meetings in the past have been loud, at times raucous, with remembrances traded, funny and sad, admiration for our hospital advances, and regret for what has been lost, and to honor those physicians among us who have helped create the tradition of St. Luke's Roosevelt for caring for both our patients and all of our staff as family. It is my fervent hope that we can return to those dinner meetings in 2023. As part of our tradition, we will first remember those of our brothers and sisters who have departed this life in this past year. Lucy Swift, Department of Pediatrics at St. Luke's. Ray Gambino, Chair of the Department of Pathology at St. Luke's. I will ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. The first St. Luke's Roosevelt Distinguished Alumnus Award for 2022 is given to Dr. Nolan Kagetsu, Senior Attending in the Department of Radiology and Clinical Professor of Diagnostic, Molecular, and Interventional Radiology at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Dr. Kagetsu is a highly respected neuroradiologist who has devoted his career to quality and safety improvement at both a local and national level. He has been active in areas of diversity and inclusion, again at a local and national level, and served on the ACGME Diversity Task Force that led to the development of the position of Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. He was the program director for the Department of Radiology for 15 years, responsible for training some 100 radiology residents. During that period, the radiology board pass rate was 100%. After graduating from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Nolan attended medical school at Albany Medical College. He completed his general radiology residency at St. Luke's Roosevelt, where he came under the challenging influence of Dr. York Chin, St. Luke's Roosevelt's first neuroradiologist. Following completion of that residency, Nolan became a fellow in neuroradiology and interventional neuroradiology under Dr. Alex Berenstein at NYU. He returned to St. Luke's Roosevelt in 1991. His activities on medical committees at both a local and national level are too numerous to list, but the common thread has been a devotion to teaching, quality assurance, and diversity. Nolan, it is my honor and great personal pleasure on behalf of the Alumni Society to award you the Distinguished Alumnus Award.
Hi, I would like to thank Carl Braun and the selection committee for this wonderful honor. I am grateful for my St. Luke's Roosevelt experience and the many wonderful people I've worked with. First off, Jean Baer, who accepted me into the radiology program straight from medical school before the days of the match. My new chair at the time, Ron Abloh, encouraged me with a project that resulted in a presentation at RSNA in 1986, as well as a publication in our flagship journal while I was still a resident. York Chin, the first neuroradiologist at St. Luke's, was a wonderful mentor. I experienced both the Continuum and Mount Sinai mergers. They were easy for us with Mike Abiri as our chair. I experienced the first MRIs in our system, the outpatient magnet on the Fordham campus, as well as inpatient magnets at Morningside and West. I am proud of the care we give the underserved at Morningside. I've enjoyed working with the Mount Sinai medical students. I'm especially grateful for the opportunity to serve as a co-faculty advisor of the Mount Sinai APAMSA chapter. This has led to involvement in APAMSA at a national level. I enjoy working with the Morningside and West Diversity Councils. I am grateful to serve as my department's first diversity champion. Finally, I am grateful for the support from my chair, Bert Dreyer, to be promoted to clinical professor last year. Thank you for this wonderful honor.
The second St. Luke's Roosevelt Distinguished Alumnus Award for 2022 is given to Dr. Tom Bernard. Tom retired in 2019 as Assistant Professor of Medicine at Weill Medical College of Cornell University. Tom graduated from the University of Texas Southwestern Medical School and completed his internship and medical residency at St. Luke's Hospital. He then entered the Cardiology Fellowship at St. Luke's and subsequently completed a Cardiac Research Fellowship at Columbia before returning to St. Luke's to enter the private practice of medicine and cardiology. I think I can say he promptly became one of the most sought-after consultants for his colleagues with a practice of devoted patients. He served as chief of the Adult Cardiology Clinic from 1985 to 2005. Tom had a straightforward, down-home approach to medicine in general and cardiology in particular that inspired confidence in both his patients and those of us who regularly consulted with him and sent our family members to him. He brought the same approach to the governance of the hospital, serving on the executive committee of the medical board from 1994 to 2007 and as president of the medical board from 2000 to 2002. He also served as president of the St. Luke's Roosevelt Physicians Health Organization from 1998 to 2000. Despite moving from a private practice on the west side with St. Luke's and Roosevelt to a full-time clinical position with New York Hospital in 2007, Tom maintained his St. Luke's Roosevelt ties to this day. Tom, for your devotion to St. Luke's Roosevelt and representing all that was best in the delivery of care by those of us who were in private practice, it is my privilege, on behalf of the Alumni Society, to award you the Distinguished Alumnus Award for 2022.
Thank you. This is truly a great honor. I really appreciate it. I think there's at least a bit of irony in the way I came to St. Luke's in the first place. As I guess most of you know, or have figured out by now, is that I am not a native New Yorker. I grew up in Texas, went to college in Austin, and medical school in Dallas. I figured I would go someplace else for internship and residency. I'd been to New York once and sort of fell in love with the place. Of course, that was also about the time President Ford was telling the city to drop dead. I was applying to some programs here in New York and asked the attending I had for my third-year medicine clerkship at Parkland if he would write one of my letters for my internship application. This is interesting because my attending, Don Capra, had recently been recruited to Southwestern from the Mount Sinai School of Medicine, where he was on the original medical faculty. I noticed that while all the other attendings wore lab coats that said UT Southwestern, Dr. Capra still wore his Mount Sinai coat. I asked him for the letter and told him my plans. He said, "New York, you have to go to St. Luke's." Turns out that's where he did his internship and residency before heading off to the NIH. I went to see him after matching at St. Luke's, and he sat down and wrote out a list of doctors I needed to know. I recently looked, but couldn't find the list, but I'm pretty sure I remember. Loomis Bell, Rudd Barrett, Sammy Hashem, Ted Van Italy, Zave Pissigny, Bob Case, and Dick Pearson. I left in 2007 to join the faculty at Weill Cornell, but St. Luke's Roosevelt is still home. Turns out I retired just before COVID. Thank you for this honor, but more than that, I want to give you my appreciation, admiration, and love for getting us through what I hope has been the worst of this pandemic.
Our next award is the Jeffrey T. Lateman PhD Award for Achievement in Medical Education. This award honors a physician who has made major contributions to the field of medical education. Tonight, we are pleased to present this award to Dr. Valerie Parkas. Dr. Parkas completed her medical degree at Brown University and her internal medicine residency at New York Hospital Cornell University Medical College before going to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center for a fellowship in infectious diseases. She then joined the Division of Infectious Diseases at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, where she has spent her career taking care of HIV-infected people, providing patient-centered care for those who have too often been marginalized. She's now the Senior Associate Dean of Admissions and Recruitment for the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, and has put extraordinary effort into increasing diversity in all realms, including developing the FlexMed program and finding new ways to attract military veterans to the medical professions. We thank her for her dedication to providing the best care for her patients while giving equal importance to educating the next generation. Congratulations, Dr. Parkas.
I am deeply honored to have received this award. I want to acknowledge so many people. I want to acknowledge Jeff Lateman, after whom the award is named, for his deep commitment to Sinai and to our students. I want to thank David Thomas for nominating me for the award and for being a voice of support and expertise over all these years. I've had the privilege of having so many professional collaborations, and I've been on so many teams over the years. I do want to acknowledge many folks from whom I have learned so much, exchanged so many emails, written documents, drafted communications and policies, had meetings, laughs, coffees, and so here goes. Thank you to Dennis Charney, Sharish Huprkar, David Muller, Michelle Sante, Talia Swartz, Rainier Soriano, Rena Karani, Beverly Forsyth, Carrie Ernst, Jessica Masonette, Jackie Chudau, Gary Butts, Angel Palermo, everybody in MedEd, enrollment services, and infectious diseases. I am so grateful for a career in medical education that has given me the enormous privilege to have played a small part in the lives of so many extraordinary students. Students who are using medicine as a platform for change, who are stubbornly optimistic in the face of so much that we need to do to continue to advance science, medicine, and healthcare delivery. Students who are fighting the fight with passion and perseverance. It has been a gift to know each and every student in this exceptional school. I also want to acknowledge my children, Stephanie and Philip, my husband Jason, and my mother Judy Parkas. A working mom always needs a team, and they are my team, so thank you to them and thank you to all of you. It's been a great honor.
The Mount Sinai Alumni Award for Achievement in Graduate Education is given to a scientist who has made significant contributions as a teacher, investigator, and practitioner to the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences at Mount Sinai. Tonight, we are pleased to present this award to Dr. Zihai Li. Dr. Li, who earned his PhD from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, has more than made his mark on the fields of oncology and cancer immunology. He is now the Klotz Memorial Chair in Cancer Research, professor and founding director of the Pelotonia Institute for Immuno-Oncology at The Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center, James Cancer Hospital, and Solov Research Institute. His research, which has been continuously funded by the NIH for over 2 decades, focuses on developing better immunotherapeutics against cancer. In addition to his work in the lab, Dr. Li's passion for educating the next generation of scientists has led him to training more than 60 graduate students, postdoctoral fellows, and junior faculty members. Thank you, and congratulations, Dr. Li.
I would like to thank the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for this great honor of receiving the 2022 Graduate School Alumni Award. My special thanks go to Dr. Miriam Murad for this nomination. My time at Mount Sinai was the turning point of my life. Those formative years of training between 1990 and 1994 gave me a great appreciation for scholarship. I learned the importance of critical thinking, solid experimental skills, and collaboration in solving challenging biomedical problems. I was extremely fortunate to study under the mentorship of Dr. Pramod Srivastava. I joined his lab as a young student from China who was learning science, American culture, and the language at the same time. Through Dr. Srivastava's wealth of knowledge in cancer immunology and his relentless trust and belief in my abilities, he inspired the scientist in me. I'm also especially grateful for the Department of Microbiology and the department chair, Dr. Peter Polisi, and my PhD committee members whose mentoring and support helped me to complete my PhD thesis within 4 years. Most importantly, I would like to thank my family for their unconditional support and love, which was instrumental for my success. And finally, thank you so very much to everyone who has impacted my life and to Mount Sinai for providing such a strong foundation for my career.
The Mount Sinai Master Clinician Award was a new award last year and honors faculty who have demonstrated exceptional acumen as clinicians and teachers, devoting much of their careers to patient care and teaching clinical skills. Tonight, we are pleased to present this award to 2 doctors who exemplify all of those qualities, Dr. Burton Cohen and Dr. Peek Wu. Dr. Cohen has been a proud member of the Mount Sinai family since 1976, when he was resident and then chief resident of the Department of Radiology. Before he went into private practice, he served as the first chief of computed body tomography at Mount Sinai. But he's never really left Mount Sinai, having been very engaged in the Alumni Association, including serving as its president. He is an active member of the Alumni Advisory Committee and in the teaching programs here, and was also on the admissions committee of ICAHN Mount Sinai for 37 years. A perpetual name on all the best doctors lists, it's hard to imagine a more deserving person to be known as Master Clinician. Congratulations, Dr. Cohen.
Thank you all so very much for attending this virtual ceremony. This evening affords me the enviable opportunity to recognize with gratitude the many people who have guided me and who have worked with me throughout my career. First, I am so appreciative to the members of the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for bestowing this award on me. I feel unworthy, but greatly honored, and I am thrilled to share this award with my fellow honoree, Dr. Peek Wu, an internationally acclaimed otolaryngologist. I want to publicly thank my mentors in radiology. There are many, but I must single out a few. Dr. Jack Rabinowitz gave me my start. I was his first chief resident at Mount Sinai, and then he gave me, a young attending, the opportunity to be the first chief of the new section of computed body tomography. Drs. Harold Mitty and Peter Sam helped guide and instruct me at that time. I entered private practice in 1985 and joined an incredible group of physicians, all great radiologists who have been my partners and very dear friends. Two are sadly no longer physically with us. Dr. Howard Grunther, a mentor who became a virtual older brother to me, and of course, Dr. Daniel McClansky. I have worked side by side in an incredibly collegial atmosphere with Drs. Jerry Zimmer, Barry Burson, and Jerry Kurzban, and shared duties with Drs. Alan Hyman and Joseph McClansky. We worked side by side, and I have learned so much from all of them. Also, a special thank you to the staff at New York Medical Imaging Associates. I have worked together with many on our staff for more than 35 years. They are superb and are the most important part of the team. They make us and me look good. I must also express my everlasting gratitude to the many clinicians with whom I have worked so closely over the last more than 40 years. I have learned so much from you, and so many of you have become very dear friends. I have been extremely fortunate to have had the opportunity to interact with your patients, and I cherish the fact that I share your patients with you. I love my role as a physician who practices radiology. A huge thank you to my family. You are my strength. I have had great role models in my parents and grandparents as well as my in-laws. They taught me by example the importance of hard work and of being of service to others. And lastly, my most important thank you is to my wife, children, and grandchildren. My wife, Gail, has been my partner for the last 47 years. She is my soulmate and my rock. It is my greatest blessing that we are sharing this incredible journey through life together. Thank you all so very much, and thank you once again for this wonderful honor.
Dr. Wu studied at Boston University, receiving his BA and MD from there before going on to train in otolaryngology at a joint program between BU and Tufts. Before coming to the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, he was vice chair of otolaryngology at New England Medical Center. Now, we are lucky to have him as a clinical professor in otolaryngology, head and neck surgery, where he specializes in voice production and disorders. He continues to train residents and laryngology fellows and has become so renowned that even actors and opera singers have entrusted their golden throats to his care. I hope my voice is loud and clear as I say congratulations, Dr. Wu.
I would like to thank the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for the honor of this award. I would also like to thank Dr. Jenda, my chairman, for putting me up for this award, as well as all those providing the supporting letters necessary. Otolaryngologist represents only 4% of medicine, and to be a laryngologist within that 4% is even a smaller, minute fraction. A super specialist is really someone who knows more and more about less and less until they know everything about nothing. So that you should consider me worthy of this award makes it especially meaningful. I do try to follow Dr. Osler's recommendation in his essay, A Student's Life, in my career. In this essay, he talked about how the end of collegiate years is only the beginning as we enter into a career as a medical practitioner. We should continue to learn from our patients, our colleagues, and ourselves. That is, our patients are now our laboratories for daily learning. By the application of this simple dedication, I have found that my career has overflowed with satisfaction and rewards. Never boring, never despondent, despite COVID-19. So thank you very much.
The Mount Sinai Special Recognition Award acknowledges and thanks individuals who have provided exceptional service to the alumni community, and there is no better candidate for this recognition than our recipient tonight, Dr. Arthur Gafanti. A native son of the Bronx, Dr. Gafanti received his PhD from Columbia University in 1975 after a stint in the U.S. Army interrupted his graduate training. He then joined the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, where he remains an assistant professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Biological Chemistry. For over 30 years, he's been working with Dr. Terry Ann Krolwich to research alkaliphilic bacteria and has lectured around the world on microbiology. For over 40 years, he has lent his keen intelligence and caring manner to the admissions committee, interviewing potential students and screening applications. With much gratitude, I say congratulations, Dr. Gufanti.
My gratitude to the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for conferring this honor. Thanks to Drs. Parkus and Mueller for nominating me. My main motivation for coming to Mount Sinai in 1975 was to do research with Dr. Terry Krolwich on the most interesting bioenergetic project in bacteria. Although my primary task was conducting experiments, I had the additional advantage that Terry was the longtime dean of the graduate program and was instrumental in founding the MD-PhD program. This afforded me the opportunity to work with medical students, especially in summers when they tried their hand at research. I also interacted with medical students in a biochemistry lab we used to teach, and as a proctor for biochemistry exams, and as an advisor to 2 incoming students each year. About 40 years ago, I was appointed to the Medical School Admissions Committee, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing so many outstanding applicants, and now continue screening applications. Of course, one of the highlights of my career was working in the lab with future Dr. Talia Schwartz, someone you all may know. Special thanks to colleagues, friends, and family who have supported me all these years.
The Terry Ann Krolwich Physician Scientist Alumni Award is named in honor of a beloved scientist, student champion, and founding director of the MD-PhD program at Mount Sinai. In recognition of the accomplishments of an outstanding Mount Sinai-trained physician scientist, we are pleased to present the Terry Ann Krolwich Alumni Award to Dr. Roxana Miron. Dr. Miron, who received her MD from St. George's University of Medicine in Wisconsin and completed fellowships in both cardiovascular disease and interventional cardiology at the Mount Sinai Hospital, came to Mount Sinai from Columbia University Medical Center, New York Presbyterian Hospital. She is an internationally renowned interventional cardiologist and clinical research expert in the field of cardiovascular disease. Dr. Miron holds many titles here, including 2 professorships, and as director of the Center for Women's Heart Health at Mount Sinai and director of the Center for Interventional Cardiovascular Research and Clinical Trials at the Zena and Michael A. Wiener Cardiovascular Institute at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. In addition, she is dedicated to both women's health and women's roles in medicine. For the former, she currently leads the Lancet Commission on Women's Cardiovascular Diseases, bringing together leading researchers from around the world to identify and bridge gaps in research and care for women with cardiovascular disease. And for the latter, she is the founder of Women as One, which is dedicated to advancing opportunities for women in medicine. Those are just a few of the reasons I'm delighted to say, congratulations, Dr. Miron.
How profound it is for me to receive the Terry Ann Krolwich Physician Scientist Alumni Award given in recognition of a beloved scientist, student champion, and the founding director of the MD-PhD program at Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. She was one of the few women who entered the newly developed medical school here in the 1970s. I'm humbled to receive this award on this 50th anniversary of the class of 1972 in her name, and to now be amongst the brilliant previous recipients of this award. I want to thank Dean Charney, Dr. Eric Nessler, Dr. Samin Sharma, Dr. Anatine Jalines, and especially Dr. Valentine Fuster, my mentor, for their unrelenting support over the last many years. I feel deeply proud to have trained here for cardiology and to have been the first female interventional cardiology fellow at the ICANN School of Medicine. Here, I learned how to care for patients, enjoyed the benefit of spending 2 years in the basic science lab, and mentored by the giants of cardiology. I believe that the years of medical study and mentorship truly inform who you will become as a physician. At Mount Sinai, I was given the opportunity to understand how integral research is in our work as physicians and how important it is for our patients. Furthermore, I understood how critical it is that research is conducted at the very highest level of professionalism. Dr. Terry Ann Krowich is someone who understands that treatment only gets better for our patients when we are both physicians and scientists, teachers and mentors. That she also championed women as physician scientists is particularly inspiring to me. In this spirit, I accept this award with great humility, and I'm deeply grateful to the Mount Sinai Alumni Association, Dr. Talia Swartz, Dr. Fuster, and Dr. Krowich. I will do my best to continue trying to live up to the legacy that inspires this award. Thank you so much.
The Dr. Sidney Grossman Distinguished Humanitarian Award honors those who have shown extraordinary service and inspirational leadership to others, and no one better exhibits these qualities than this year's recipient, Dr. Denali Fernando. Dr. Fernando earned her MPH at the George Washington University School of Public Health and her MD at the George Washington University School of Medicine, both in Washington, D.C. After finishing her internship in internal medicine there, she came to the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai for her residency in emergency medicine. Now, an assistant professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine at Icahn Mount Sinai, Dr. Fernando is interested in human rights, patient outcomes, and quality improvement research. She is also an outstanding clinician with a focus on global health who has had a profound impact, especially in her work expanding the Libertas Center in Queens into a multidisciplinary treatment center providing trauma-focused medical and mental health, social and legal services to survivors of torture and human rights violations to help them heal, regain function, and restore humanity in their lives. Dr. Fernando has also made vital contributions to medical education, playing an integral role in training over 1,000 residents, mid-levels, staff, and faculty on identifying, caring for, and appropriately referring survivors of human rights violations. Humbled by her compassion, I say congratulations, Dr. Fernando.
Thank you very much to the Mount Sinai Alumni Association for this award. I am truly honored and humbled. It means a lot to me to be a part of an institution that values human rights and social justice, and I very much appreciate Mount Sinai's support of our work at the Libertas Center for Human Rights. At Libertas, we provide comprehensive medical, mental health, legal, and social services to immigrants who have fled torture and severe human rights violations in their home countries on the basis of race, religion, ethnicity, political opinion, or membership in a social group, such as gender or sexual orientation. It is a privilege to work with these incredibly resilient survivors, despite the unimaginable persecution they have faced, often because of advocates and activists in their home countries. They inspire me every day and have so much to contribute to our society, given the opportunity. I wanted to express my sincere gratitude to the hospital and our emergency medicine department leadership at both Mount Sinai, Drs. Carr, Richardson, Jagoda, Merchant, and Nelson, and Elmhurst Hospital, Drs. Kessler, Fairweather, Nazarian, Abicoli, and Manini, as well as Drs. Bass and Beatty, who started Libertas. Thank you all for your mentorship and guidance and for championing this work. I also wanted to send a heartfelt thank you to my amazingly dedicated staff at Libertas and committed partner colleagues, residents, and students. This work would not be possible without you. Lastly, my wonderful, wonderful family and friends, thank you for all your support. Together, we can and must continue to amplify the unheard voice.
Our next award tonight is the J. Lester Gabrilov Award, named after one of the most beloved physicians in our school's history. This award recognizes a career of excellence in clinical or basic research by a member of the Mount Sinai community. We are pleased to present this award to Dr. John Sijang He. Dr. He earned his medical degree from Shanghai Second Medical University and then his master's and PhD in physiology from the University of Paris. These worldly travels eventually brought him here, where he is now the chief of the Division of Nephrology for the Mount Sinai Health System and the Irene and Dr. Arthur M. Fishberg Professor of Medicine at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Over 30 years of research, he has developed extraordinary expertise in cell biology, molecular biology, systems biology, and experimental pathology, opening up innumerable pathways to understanding diabetic and chronic kidney disease and HIV-associated nephropathy. Dr. He, who has been called the consummate clinician scientist, has lectured around the world and published hundreds of peer-reviewed articles, in addition to receiving many honors and awards. It gives me no end of pleasure to add to that impressive array. Congratulations, Dr. He.
It's my distinct honor to accept this award that celebrates Dr. J. Lester Gabrilov, an accomplished clinician, researcher, and leader whose work in adrenal tumors has transformed the field of endocrinology. I would like to thank Dr. David Thomas for this nomination and the Alumni Association for selecting me for this honor. I'm grateful to the talented members of my laboratory and the faculty in the Division of Nephrology who relentlessly strive for excellence in research and patient care. It's my privilege to work with this outstanding team to continue to explore new frontiers in nephrology research and to apply our findings to advancements that directly improve the lives of our patients. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge Dr. Barbara Murphy, a colleague and a friend who I missed dearly, and whose guidance has been instrumental to my career. Finally, I would like to thank my wife and daughters for their love and support.
The final award of St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Society is the Distinguished Young Physician of the Year Award, which is awarded to a former trainee of St. Luke's Roosevelt and/or a physician currently on staff who completed their training less than 10 years ago. This year, it is the great pleasure of the Alumni Society to award the Distinguished Young Physician of the Year Award to Dr. Christina Woods. Christina is currently Associate Professor of Medicine at the Icahn School of Medicine, Hospital Epidemiologist and Director of Infection Prevention at Mount Sinai West, and Interim Hospital Epidemiologist and Director of Infection Prevention at Mount Sinai Morningside. In those capacities, she assisted both hospitals in organizing their response to COVID-19, which is ongoing, as well as all infection prevention. She is an active teacher and lecturer, Deputy Chief Medical Officer for Mount Sinai West, a member of the Technical Advisory Work Group for Hospital-Acquired Infections for the New York Department of Health, and sits on a variety of committees of the Society for Healthcare Epidemiology, where she is actively developing podcasts in infection prevention. Christina graduated from NYU and the Ross School of Medicine. She completed her internship and medical residency at New York Medical Center of Queens and a fellowship in infectious diseases at Mount Sinai Beth Israel. After 2 years in private practice, Christina came to Mount Sinai West in 2017 as the hospital epidemiologist and director of infection prevention. Her energy and enthusiasm for teaching infection prevention to trainees in infectious diseases has impacted mightily on the hospital staffs of both Mount Sinai West and Mount Sinai Morningside. The declining rates of C. difficile and surgical site infections at both sites during her tenure as Director of Infection Prevention are a testimony to her drive. Her initial investigations were in antimicrobial resistance, and her ongoing research is currently focused on the hospital epidemiology of COVID-19. Christina, it is my honor on behalf of the St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Society to award you the Distinguished Young Physician of the Year Award for the year 2022.
I vividly remember the first order I wrote as a PGY1. It was for Tylenol. Before signing the order, I had a moment of nervous reflection. What if my patient has a side effect? It will be my fault. While at the same time, the other half of my brain pushed back. Why are you second-guessing Tylenol order? Didn't you take some earlier for a headache? The responsibility of a patient's health, the decisions made on someone's behalf, and the trust they place in you to do the right thing, thankfully has gotten a bit easier with time. But what hasn't diminished is my appreciation of the weight of that responsibility. I've been fortunate to have been trained by some wonderful clinicians. I'd argue they're New York City's best. My fellowship years at Beth Israel were some of the most exciting and most formative years of my young career. It was there that I worked with and learned from people with common interests. No one backed away from you when you wanted to talk bacteria, viral syndromes, antimicrobials, parasites. I know, hard to believe. Doctors Yankovitz, Perlman, and Solomon were not only teachers, but treated fellows like young colleagues whom they mentored and still do. It was also during fellowship that I worked with Dr. Cole, who introduced me to the world of infection prevention and epidemiology, and later encouraged me to apply for a job in the field when I expressed interest. I'm eternally grateful to all of them for their encouragement and support, and for all that they've taught me and continue to teach me. After all, in medicine, we continue to learn every day. In the midst of all the schooling, the years of residency and fellowship training, the often challenging schedule, which at times meant missing important events in the lives of my family members and friends, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the steadfast support offered to me by my husband, Patrick, my family, my friends, and not least, my two young sons, Charlie and Dylan. What many don't realize is that they too serve others by sharing their time with the career that I love and the patients that I have the privilege to help care for. While by nature I do not give up, getting through all those years, and indeed the last 2 years, would have been impossible without their infinite love and support. As someone who practices infection prevention and infectious diseases, the last 2 years have been immeasurably challenging. It was difficult to have patients admitted with COVID with little to offer them. Difficult to watch colleagues become ill as they selflessly cared for their patients. Difficult to unplug from work when all the news and changes to daily life served as a constant reminder of what we all faced in the hospital. I found myself reflecting often on my Tylenol moment, this time feeling the weight of responsibility to provide answers to questions that I had no way of answering with any certainty. It has often felt during this pandemic as though I've been standing on sand rather than solid ground as the information shifts and evolves. And my job to keep people safe and healthy at times felt like being asked to stop the tide. I'm thankful that the pandemic today is different with the advent of vaccines and therapies. I'm grateful to my fellow infection prevention colleagues, my fellow ID colleagues, as well as my colleagues in the administration at Mount Sinai West, all of whom were and continue to be an enormous source of support. To be recognized as the Young Physician of the Year is a great honor, particularly during a time in my career that has been so personally challenging. To my fellow alumni on the executive committee of the St. Luke's Roosevelt Alumni Association, I am humbled and I thank you sincerely for this wonderful award.
Our final award tonight is the Saul Horowitz Jr. Memorial Award, established by the Horowitz family to be given to a physician who, by virtue of outstanding achievements since graduating from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, has made significant contributions as a teacher, investigator, and practitioner in the field of medicine. We are pleased to bestow this award tonight to Dr. S. Deblina Datta. Dr. Datta earned her MD at Icahn Mount Sinai and continued her training at the Mount Sinai Hospital, latterly as a fellow in infectious diseases. That interest brought her to her most recent appointment, leading the Global Measles Elimination Team for the CDC. Her decades of service at the CDC and her work with ministries of health in over 30 countries has led to international renown in outbreak preparedness and response, as in the aftermath of Ebola, global health, vaccine science, policy and finance, global polio eradication, and most recently, COVID-19 response. In addition to that, she rose rapidly to the rank of captain in the Commissioned Corps of the U.S. Public Health Service, a uniformed and unarmed cadre of over 6,000 health professionals dedicated to rapid frontline responses to domestic and global public health threats. Dr. Datta, we are lucky to have you on our side. Congratulations.
It's a tremendous honor to be receiving this award in the name of Dr. Saul Horowitz. I would like to first acknowledge the wonderful start I received as a healthcare professional from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and the Mount Sinai, Elmhurst, and Bronx VA hospitals. As a 22-year-old, I entered as a student and emerged as a well-trained professional with lofty aspirations for a better world. I was fortunate that my application, written for the CDC's Applied Epidemiology Training Program, otherwise known as EIS, which was hastily put together the last week before the deadline with very generous support of Drs. Larry Smith, Paul Burke, and Mary Klotman, was approved. And my career in public health began as a 2-year stint, after which I was supposed to return to my academic training as an ID fellow at Sinai, presumably to enter an academic ID career. But what I saw at CDC changed me and my idea of what medical training could lead to. Public health was an incredibly important discipline, yet I had never heard of this career path until I was putting together my application. Before me, there were only 2 others from Sinai who went on to public health careers at CDC, Dr. Steve Thacker and Ida Honorato, both giants at the agency. I'm also proud to say, as a grace note, that I'm a nominee this year for the Thacker Award for Mentoring at CDC. I would also like to note that a steady stream of EIS hopefuls reach out to me from Sinai's training programs yearly, and a steady stream of third-year medical students come to do a fellowship during their scholarly year at CDC ever since 2018. During this important time of pandemic, public health careers are in the spotlight, and rightly so. They're far-reaching in their importance to the nation's safety, social life, and well-being. We need the brightest and best of our profession to meet these needs, and I'm very proud of the strong pipeline between Sinai and CDC. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the support and inspiration I receive daily from my husband, also a Sinai alum, Dr. Laurent Adler, and my 2 daughters, Aaliyah and Asha. I'd also like to honor my parents whose vision to start a new life in a new country included sending their daughters to medical school and continuing the family tradition of scholarship and excellence. Shoma and I benefit tremendously from you both. Finally, I would like to acknowledge the friends who got me through my time at Sinai. Many of you are here tonight, and it makes it all the more special. And there's no way to thank all of my Sinai mentors, but I list a few of them here in addition to the 3 I mentioned earlier. Drs. Barry Kohler, Stephanie Sarametis, Joe Massey, and Joe Lieber. Thank you again for this tremendous honor. I'm so grateful and humbled by this.
Thank you, Dr. Keegan. What an inspiring lineup of brilliant people. It is so great to be reminded of the many, many uniquely talented individuals that make up the ICAHN Mount Sinai family.
I could not agree more, Talia. Thanks again to everyone who watched and celebrated with us. Please join us in one final congratulations to tonight's awardees. See you next year.